Good day, everybody. Welcome to episode 9 of the Good Day podcast, where Maxi and I talk about our adventures down under.
Good day, everybody. This episode was supposed to be nice and chill and not much happening because we had a week full of downtime in
We were
Kingston
just
Beach.
dog sitting, chilling, and then we're like, let's experience life a couple more days and see how it plays out. And boy, we got some adventures in.
Yeah, so this podcast is delayed and full of content.
Fun, yes. Yeah. But initially, we were going to talk about some basic things. Like, one thing that happened back home was the time change. And there's no time change here. But we started looking into the Australian time zones and how strange they are. Like,
super weird.
there's half-hour differences. Why on earth would there be half-hour differences? Like, from here, Tasmania, to Adelaide, I think, or like Melbourne to Adelaide, is only about a 3-hour drive, 4-hour drive, maybe. It's a 30-minute time zone. It might be a little further than that, but
yeah, it's probably a little bit further.
it doesn't make any sense. None in the world. Like, I saw a Barstool post about it recently, and they just like hit the nail right on the head. But now this time zone gives us more time to talk to families back home, or
Yeah, so more time at night. So we have a little bit more time hearing from you before we go to bed, and then less time
in the evenings
during the day.
Yeah,
Like during the day, you guys go to bed earlier now. So yeah,
that's that. So,
it's
and
been
another
fine.
thing in the downtime was I was growing out a mustache.
Yes, Kory had a full-blown mustache because he wants to assimilate to Australian culture.
All Aussies, they got the little mustache, the long hair, and that comes to another dilemma, the hair. So, for those of you who don't know, I've been going to one lady to cut my hair my entire life. Debbie. Shout out Debbie. Top notch hair cutters, Brantford CT. And there's no Debbie here. And I'm not going to, like, even in college, I would go home just to get a haircut, drive an hour, 45 minutes from Newport and back, just to get my hair cut by Debbie. And then I'd go back to school the same day. No big deal.
I always thought that was ridiculous, but his hair always looked chef's kiss, so I can't really knock it.
Yeah, it was just a comfort thing. Like, I don't know.
If it's not broke, don't fix it.
Yeah, go to the same person. But I don't know what to do down here. I am thinking right now my goal is to grow it out, maybe get a ponytail, maybe a man bun. We'll see how that feels. Maybe just wear a hat. I don't know. It's this big dilemma. It's a massive issue.
It's
We'll
not
see.
that big of an issue, but maybe in Kory's head it might be, but he doesn't really voice that.
Yeah, I wonder what Mai thinks.
Yeah, let's hear from Mai. Should he grow it out like Mike Paffman?
Yeah.
Or should he get a new hairdresser, barber?
I don't know. It's a dilemma for sure, but we'll see how it goes. You'll see my hair update.
Before he came down here, he was like, I'm not cutting it for a year.
Yeah.
But I guess now he's reconsidering.
No, I don't think I'm going to cut it, to be honest. I'm afraid. I like my hairdresser.
Debbie has to send like a PDF of instructions to whoever
Yeah,
cuts his hair down here.
I walk in and I don't even say anything. She just cuts it the same way every single time. So I don't even know how to tell someone to cut my hair. Yeah, but that was a little bit of the week for my my facial hair and my hair.
But while we're on general topics, I just want to talk about how in Australia they do not, and New Zealand, they do not put salt and pepper on any tables anywhere, at any restaurant, any cafe, nowhere. So it's awkward if your food leaves a little bit to be desired within the salt section and you want to ask for salt but you don't want to be rude. So it's really frustrating that they just don't put those things on the table. And then they also, since they don't make tips, they just get paid a normal living wage. They don't bother to like check in on you unless you're at a nice restaurant. They don't bother to say like, how is everything? So yeah, like you'll have to finish your meal by the time they come over to collect your plate. And it's like, they ask you then, oh, how was it? Well, too late to ask for salt now.
Yeah, they're like the service industry down here is definitely not the same. Like, even though you have to tip, in the States and elsewhere, like you get better service, even at
Yeah.
like places that you wouldn't expect. Like in some dingy diner, you'll get better service than like a nice restaurant.
Yeah.
But that's just how it is, and tipping is no good. But yeah,
Yeah, it's okay. We don't have to pay for sales tax and stuff when we buy things here. It's just like the price is the price. So that's a
yeah,
fun
that is
change.
nice. Yeah, but we've been like really loving Hobart and Tasmania, and we really seem like we've seen it all and like enjoy it all. Really, like there hasn't been a
Yes.
part of Tassie that I don't like, and this place we're staying now with the dogs is really nice. The dogs, man, are so unique. They're like Maxi wants to take one of them home.
I love Bob, the little Maltese. He's like 7 pounds, maybe. He's
Yeah,
like a
he's so
little
small.
potato. So cuddly, so lovable. He has a football head because, I don't know, the way they groom him, if I ever got the same dog, I would groom him the same way because it's so cute. Um, but he puts his head down on blankets or the couch, and when he picks his head up, his head is shorter from top to bottom than it is wide with the cut. So he looks like a football head. If you can just imagine a football, that's his head. It's
Yeah,
so cute.
I don't
Like
know, but
like Hey Arnold football head.
they make so much noise, and I definitely think this is one of our better sits we've done dog wise.
Mhm.
The first sit we did with Zolly,
Great house.
great house, trash dog.
That's a little harsh.
These dogs, they're fun, and they like Jazmin. I would rather walk her than Zolly for sure. Yeah,
Yes. Oh my, there's
but
no problem walking her.
yeah, but she has like an aggression towards all things that are life
Oh,
forms.
there are problems walking
Yeah.
her.
Anytime she sees another dog, she starts going crazy. It's like a drug addiction, I think. She just wants to like get hyped up and like I don't know, she wants to just bark at the dog. So it's an embarrassing thing like when your dog is just going nuts barking at these other
For no
dogs.
reason at 7:30 in the morning.
Yeah, so it's like an embarrassing thing and then
The other owners look at you like you're weird and you're
yeah.
like, this isn't even my dog.
Yeah. And then the other dog, Bob, doesn't know how to walk.
He's 7 pounds.
He's 7 pounds, but he's 6 years old. I thought he was a puppy. I really thought he was a child. Like he didn't know how to walk because he's so small. I thought just dogs grew big, but he's just small. Am small. But he
He's
like
afraid of the world.
he's afraid of everything. Like if his ball rolls like in a corner that's near like the leg of a chair, he barks at it and he's like, "Help me."
It's so cute though. He's always playing with his ball when he's on the ground. Otherwise, he's cuddling.
Yeah.
But he's always playing with his ball that's like bigger than his mouth. And the bigger dog doesn't play with anything. So
No.
he's adorable. But I love him so much. I'm going to be actually so sad to leave.
Yeah, it is going to be sad leaving these dogs. But like the way Bob walks, we'll explain it real quick, is you put the harness on him and he's just locked up. He's frozen. Like he won't move and then sometimes he gets to certain areas, you have to carry him and then you put him down, he goes pee and whatever. And in some areas he's like, "Oh, let me walk around a little bit." And then he'll stop and he's like, "Pick me up." And one time it was really cold in the morning, so we put their like little sweaters on them, and he wasn't walking the entire thing. He was just like frozen in his sweater. And then we finally took it off and he started running around.
So cute.
Yeah, Bob is a good old dog. And there's so many dogs in Hobart. Like the
So many.
Kingston Beach here is like a dog beach and wherever
Yeah.
we go, today I got like 7 pats in for dogs at least.
I got one, I think.
Yeah, one was a nice golden retriever, the other was a black lab. But yeah, exploring Hobart's been fun. We've been to like there's one super famous
Farmers market.
yeah, farmers market.
It's more of just a flea market, really, of
Yeah.
craft fair. It's right in their historic district. The buildings are beautiful.
It's all like old colonial and like brick buildings, limestone buildings. Really nice area
Yeah.
called Salamanca.
Salamanca Markets. It's on Saturdays. So touristy, like you could barely walk.
Yeah, it's shoulder to shoulder, like you're walking down like Times Square. It was packed.
And hundreds of vendors. Like
Yeah, it's so many people.
hundreds.
Yeah,
We ended up buying a book from this guy. He kind of like weaseled us into buying his book,
yeah.
but I kind of wanted to get it anyways. He traveled from,
Hobart.
yeah, Tasmania to England.
Yeah,
Yeah, that
Tasmania
way.
and then Hobart to London, all by hitchhiking.
Yes. So, I mean, I would never do that, but
Well, I think that's how we're getting home.
oh yeah, I forgot. So we're gonna get some tips from this book. It has pictures in the middle from his trip, and he signed it for us. And he was a cool guy.
Yeah, he was
So
awesome. He was a good guy. And the other farmers market was the what's the name of it?
that one was a real farmer's market.
Yeah,
Farmgate Market.
Farmgate Market, which has a similar vibe. We went there on St. Patrick's Day, which we thought was somewhat of a holiday down here, but it
Because
turns out,
Australians love
yeah,
drinking.
it turns out nobody celebrates St. Patrick's Day.
Yeah. Well,
And
no, that's not true,
yeah,
but
there's
it's
some
not big.
bars like celebrating, but one of the rules here at like the parking meters and everything is like you don't have to pay on holidays.
Mm-hmm.
So St. Patrick's Day holiday, we were like, we're not paying our $3 for an hour. We'll just walk around, throw it in park and walk around. Come back, ticket,
$50.
50 big ones.
Australian dollars, so that's like $30.
Yeah,
But
so annoying. Just because like we were parked literally right next to the meter. I have accumulated so much change because Australians don't have a $1 bill. So they give out $1 coins, $2 coins. So like when you spend any money, you're walking around with
a heavy
a
pocket.
heavy pocket of change. Yeah, but should we fight it? You guys think?
Yeah, should we fight that ticket? Should we call up town hall and tell them that is a very important holiday
Yeah, it's
to
when
our
Saint
ancestors?
Saint Patrick drove all the snakes out of Ireland. That's what happened.
They're just mad that he didn't do it here.
Yeah, I think my grandma was alive for that.
Shout
Yeah,
out my.
yeah,
But yeah, so that Farmgate Market was like a proper farmer's market. There was someone selling just garlic. There was
yeah.
someone selling like just
Lamb. Yeah,
lamb. Like
yeah.
yeah, it was just very like real farmers.
Yeah, it was cool to see. And the honey here is so cheap. Like they have the best honey in the world, all the Manuka or Manuka honey. And it's like for a gallon, it's like $10. It's so cheap and so much. I don't know why. Just maybe they got a lot of bees here.
Yeah, I don't know, but apparently they don't let you bring honey from the mainland over on the ferry to Tasmania. So hopefully we can get this honey off the island.
Yeah, we're gonna smuggle it, and we're also gonna try and smuggle a tree we got back home. I don't know how hard it's gonna be, but it's a gum or eucalyptus
A
peppermint
peppermint
tree,
eucalyptus tree.
and we got it at the an event, and we're gonna try and smuggle it home or just do some guerrilla environmentalism and plant it just somewhere.
Yeah, so we'll see.
Yeah, and then some other days in Hobart were pretty chill. Or actually down here, we went to the beach a couple days, and it's insane the just change in weather over the course of the time we've been here.
Yeah, we've been here for almost 5 weeks. We're leaving on the fifth week.
It's been like a range of third. No, like one morning it was like 39 degrees. I swear, maybe like in the 40s Fahrenheit for our Celsius listeners. Uh, yeah, and other days it's been hot. And one day, a couple days, we got to go to the beach and just hang out. And it's just mad that the weather swings that we've had over the course of our time here.
Well, like every single week we've been like, sorry, but sunburnt.
Yeah,
So like it's full blown like summer sun, but in the morning it's chilly and at night it's chilly. And on some days it happens to be chilly, but then other days it happens to be full blown summer. It is the end of summer, if not fall already here. Um, but yeah,
yeah,
I could feel it getting colder from 5 weeks ago to now.
yeah. I think so too. I feel like the weather change. Like I've already started to see like the leaves starting to turn and
Yeah.
stuff. So it's like I feel like it happens with the snap here. And yeah, I'm glad we came here when we did, and I'm excited to be leaving. Yeah.
Yeah, back to the mainland, but I don't know. I just if everything feels so full circle. We'll get there, but
Yeah.
Tasmania has been amazing.
And we've also had a new insect encounter that I don't think we've told anyone yet. And
Is that an
this,
insect?
I don't really
I
know how to
guess so.
categorize it. It's so. What
So,
happened?
I think I was like doing laundry. I picked up our laundry basket and I see something underneath it. And I quickly realized what it was, and I was pretty shocked. Um, and then I went and did the laundry, and Kory was outside going to our car, and I yelled, Kory, and he probably heard it from outside, but then I was like, okay, he's outside, he can't hear me. He came inside, and I was like, oh, Kory, and he goes, how big is it? Um, but I walked out of the laundry room, and I looked him in the eyes, and I said, there's a scorpion in the bathroom.
Yeah, it
So
was crazy. Like it wasn't big at all. It was a small scorpion, but they say those are the deadliest. But after we're looking it up, it wasn't deadly at all. It was probably what, an inch big. It was small,
Um, a little
probably
bit
big. Yeah,
bigger.
maybe 2 inches big. So it wasn't like it was big for like a bug. You know, like if you
Yeah,
see a bug or a fly that big, you're like, holy cow, that thing's huge. But this was
yeah.
insane. It had like the claws and
The
the tail and
tail.
everything. So who
So
knew Tassie had scorpions?
I didn't.
Yeah, neither did I.
But I was like, oh, don't worry, it's dead. And he was like, what makes you think this is dead? And then he like pushed the laundry basket back on it,
It
and
started moving.
yeah, it was like wiggling. So that's that.
Yeah, and we did a yeah, that was pretty crazy to see. And this week was kind of filled with some tasks that we had to get done. Like we went to car. There's a mechanic right down the road from here, like literally 2 seconds away, and we're like, oh, let's go check in on the car, make sure our old buddy Gus didn't sell us anything that was like broken or anything. So we got the car serviced there, and he also sold it to us with it's a dual battery system, so you can run like camping gear and stuff. And so we got a second battery added, which was kind of needed because it was draining our first battery. And I have a lot of dreams for this car. Like I think it can become such a sick vehicle. And
It is a sick
yeah, we've
vehicle.
decided. Well, I've just been calling it Potato.
Yeah, Kory can't stop calling it Potato the Prado.
Yeah. So
Because it's a Land
Land Cruiser
Cruiser
Prado.
Prado.
Yeah. So here's the vision. I'll lay it out to you guys. You see Potato in your mind. It's got the roof rack. Next thing we're gonna put on the roof, a rooftop tent, hard top. That's where we're gonna be camping out in the bush. And after that, we need some recovery gear just in case we're on a beach. We need a shovel hanging off the roof. We got those max track pads. Everybody's got them down here. Then we need to get, well, another thing we need to get is a bull bar just so it doesn't damage
So
the,
Kory could hit those
so we
roos.
could run down some roos. Not intentionally, obviously. um, then got some fishing poles in it, surfboards hanging off the side. We're gonna have everything. I got the bike on the back with a bike rack trailer. That's my vision for it. So you can see this all-terrain vehicle that has all the fun stuff and fun stuff for other people. Two surfboards, whoever comes down here, they're gonna want to surf. They're gonna fish. Maybe another bike. Who knows? I probably won't buy another bike. No, got to get the first bike back first.
So I guess at the end of the year we can reflect on this and see how far Kory's vision has come.
Yeah, hopefully it comes far, and then I want to bring it back to the States.
Yeah, but we'll have to do our 3 years here so that it could be 25 years old by the time it can be imported to the
So
U.S.
you can, I looked it up, you can import a vehicle 21 to 24 years old, but it just needs an emissions test and needs to pass emissions. But
Oh.
I was telling Ben Obashan about this, one of good buddies of mine, and he said no shot I bring it home. So maybe I'll bring it home just to prove you wrong, Ben.
um,
Yeah, and we also had some other fun stuff like there's like yoga and around that we ended up doing, and
yeah, we signed up for a class at Kingston Beach Sailing Club, but
yeah,
it was by like this teacher who I could tell she really wanted to talk to us in the
yeah,
beginning, probably because she has her regulars And Kory and I were like these two randoms that signed up for her class that she didn't know.
I was the
And
only guy, again, in the yoga class.
yeah, there was like 12 students, and it was really jam-packed in there. We thought it was going to be just the two of us
Yeah.
signing up because it said like 20 spots left when we signed up. But anyways, it ended up being a big class. Big. And she, of course, like sought us out right after class, and she was like, "Where are you guys from?" So we were like, "Oh, Connecticut," and she was like, "I'm from Mississippi."
Yeah.
So I was kind of surprised that she was American because when she was talking to all her regulars at the start of class, she was like gnawing and
I know.
I gnar.
And using all the lingo that Australians use. So.
Yeah, and when she was teaching,
But there was some southern twang too.
yeah, when she was teaching, her voice changed, and Kory and I both noticed it. Kory acknowledged it as like an American accent when
I
she
thought
was
it was
teaching.
a Texas accent. Yeah.
Yeah, and I was just like, why did her Australian accent go away when she was like being professional and teaching? I just wasn't adding the two things together. But she said she's lived in Tasmania or Australia for 20 years, so I guess she's picking up on the accent.
Yeah.
She,
Yeah, and it was a great yoga class too. Like it
yeah.
started out heavy and then it kind of got chill. Like so, it was a good one. I'd go back, but we're just
Yeah.
not really still here for long. And we've been kind of doing a ton of other exercise as well. Like being in one spot allows you to exercise so much more, and just even just for like 2 weeks, like we've been such a great routine. Whether it was like yoga here or like
Going on a beach run.
yeah, beach runs. There's a great loop here. Trail runs around, and
There's like trails on both sides of the beach with like big hills.
yeah. So if you wanted to say like do a flat run, you just run around the neighborhood
Yeah.
twice. But if you want to get into the trails, it's some elevation.
So I've been
And
doing more running than ever.
yeah, and then we went to a basketball court and got some buckets.
Yes.
Maxi beat me in around the world.
But I did have some like handicap rules. Is that what you would call
Yeah,
it?
you definitely were a little handicap, or you got a handicap.
But I won.
Maxi
But
won.
it wasn't quite fair, I guess. But Kory is the baller.
Yeah, but it was fun. I'm gonna start a thing on Instagram, basketball courts of Australia. So we're gonna go and try and shoot hoops at as many basketball courts as we can. I didn't know how to save stories onto like your time, like your profile,
I could help you with that.
but I forgot how to do it. So can I I don't know if I can.
You could still do it.
Oh, I can still do it. All right, nice, sick. That's good.
But you didn't geotag that one, I noticed.
Yeah, next one's I gotta.
But the non-geotagged first one will be Hobart.
Yeah, Hobart, Kingston Beach, and yeah, we did some other exploring too around like some of the other like the big things to do in Tasmania. If you look up on Google, it's like Bruny Island, Port Arthur, and so we're like, oh, let's send Bruny Island. And this was also a place that we applied to jobs like back in December. A place called Bruny Island,
Premium
Wines.
wine.
Yeah, and the guy wanted us to be there like ASAP, like get there like in December, but like things up didn't work, and his emails were really rude. He was like,
He was rude. He would respond with like, yes, no, but really, what experience do you have? And just
yeah,
like,
for just like a server position, and like he also was like, I think I didn't answer him from like midnight when he emailed us back home time to like 8 a.m. So like obviously I'm not gonna look at an email in between that time.
you're
And he was like,
sleeping.
still interested, or like
He was like,
did I lose take away your interest, or it's just a rude guy. But
uh,
we ended up going there, and it wasn't as nice as I thought it would be.
no, it really wasn't. It was like a bar that you do the tastings at, and this girl and her boyfriend were the only people working, and it was kind of like an alternate universe where like he hired another couple. They were from Chile, and he did walk through the building when we were there, and he looked kind of miserable. So
Yeah.
happy we didn't take that job.
Yeah, I'm glad we didn't take it either. And they had like the most expensive wine. Well,
Yes.
like normally for tastings or like for cellar doors, it's like either you pay something or it's free. But this one was pay $10 and you get to choose four drinks, and
They had cider too.
they had cider too. And I think the cheapest wine was like 49 Aussie dollars.
39.
Yeah,
Which
and
was like kind of a lot. Or the
the cider
cider.
option was even more ridiculous. It was like I think you had to buy like four $15 bottles that I don't even think
So
equated to a 6 pack.
yeah, with these tastings, if they charge you, they will give you the money back if you buy a bottle, or like they won't actually charge you at the end of the day for it if you buy a bottle. But this place wanted you to buy like a very expensive wine bottle to get your $10 off um, per tasting. Not $10 off the bottle price, but you just don't have to pay for the
Yeah,
tasting. But if we got one bottle, we'd still have to pay for Kory's tasting.
yeah,
Or you could buy four stubby ciders, which
yeah,
were 500 milliliters, and they were just like a larger normal bottle of beer
yeah.
size.
It's
Um,
like a tall boy.
yeah, so it was not worth it because at the end of the day, you'd be paying $60 or a little under $60 for those four drinks that were not even like a normal pack of six ciders.
Yeah,
That would have been cheaper by a third of the price.
definitely.
Like it would have
Yeah.
been a third of that price.
And
So
I didn't really like how they only sold their wine. Like they didn't sell their wines anywhere else, or like the
yeah,
only place you get their wine is in there. When typically, like other places, you can get their wine anywhere. I mean,
yeah.
maybe they're just like a smaller company and that's how they roll, and like they want to make it a little more exclusive. But I don't think their wines were that good. I'm becoming somewhat of a wine connoisseur myself. So my rating was low.
I like the ciders a lot because they tasted like juice. They were very sugary.
Yeah,
Um,
almost the apple cider plain one just kind of tasted like sweet water.
yeah,
So
definitely. And they had like blackberry apple cider brapple, and they had cherry apple cider, right?
yeah,
And those two tasted like candy, not even like an alcoholic drink at all, just candy. So kind of hard to um, pay for that, pay those
yeah,
prices for that kind of cider.
yeah. And there's some other stuff to do on Bruny Island too. Like we kind of just went there and not really knowing what to do. We had like somewhat idea of like there's one road that goes through this island and it's pretty famous. And there's like a couple walks you could do and like an archway on the beach. And we're like, all right, let's go check out the arch. We don't have to do the whole hike. And we walked and went just like to this amazing beach.
Honestly, my favorite beach in all of Tasmania.
It was, and we were the only ones on it. We saw a couple people coming to and fro on the trail, but it was just like you walked out onto the beach. It was a massive beach, and we were the only ones there.
Yeah, for the whole time we were there for like, oh,
2 hours?
yeah, a
Yeah.
while. Only ones on this massive, beautiful beach with,
The water was the clearest water I've ever seen.
yeah, it
And
was,
there was a beautiful like beach break that wasn't like too big or too small. There's a sandbar that went out. Oh my god, it was so gorgeous. Like the water, I can't even. It was like clearer than tap water.
yeah, it's literally clearer than this.
Yeah, it was.
I kept picking it up with my hands just to look at how clear it was.
Yeah, it was
So
so cool,
pretty.
and the rocks around it made the beach even more like majestical. Like these massive old rocks that have been there for millions of years. Tassie has some of the oldest rocks in the world.
So, yeah, it was spectacular. And then we discovered the connecting beaches, and that's where we found an arch that we walk under made of rock. And you just come out on this beach that just feels like,
The movie Old.
yeah,
Yeah, it
it's so
was.
magical.
Yeah, and so that beach was some of the best.
Yeah, so it wasn't like the movie Old, but it felt like somewhere only we know because,
It was sick. We were the only ones there.
yeah, only ones, and it was I am gonna dream of that beach forever. It was
Yeah.
amazing, and Kory was climbing up on the rocks, trying to get to the next beach. It was amazing.
But the walk out to the beach was a little sketchy. Like the trail was overgrown, and well, what
Mm.
made it sketchy actually, we were walking. It was basically like just like a flat track, and there was like a bunch of roots going through the trail. And all of a sudden, I'm walking. Maxi's ahead of me, and I see like underneath her, like in between her strides, I see like a little movement, and I was like, "Oh my god, snake!" And it was a snake. Maxie walked right over on top of it, but it was just another one of those little white-lipped green guys that really aren't that
They're like
bad.
this big.
Yeah,
And
probably about
skinny.
skinny and probably about a foot and a half. Like,
Yeah. But I had no idea. I walked over it, and when Kory yelled snake, I was just off running, so I never got to really see him.
yeah, and after you see a snake, literally every other route is like, oh my god, is that a snake? Is that a snake? So that slowed us down a little bit, and we weren't really.
And then we got to the overgrown part where it's like, oh god, I don't want to be walking through this.
Yeah,
Not after there was a real life snake on the trail.
I know, but it was worth it to get out there,
Oh,
like
yeah.
100% go
Yes.
again. And another great point we went to was called the Neck, where it's basically the ocean and a bay meet, and there's like maybe like 100 yards of land. There's like a beach on one side and like the bay on the other, and there's just like a massive sand dune in between it. And there's a stairs like up to the top, so you could see both of them, and it was just a really cool viewpoint. Yeah, one of the coolest in Tassie, I'd say.
Yeah, it was amazing. We had fun taking pictures up there.
Yeah,
And I
cool
ran up
shots.
the stairs because I felt guilty. Kory went on a run without me, like the day before or something. And I was like, this will work as an exercise because it was that many steps just straight up.
Yeah,
So other tourists were staring at me because I was running up these steps.
it's like Rocky Balboa running up the steps. Yeah, and also on Bruny Island there was
a bread a bread stop.
yeah. So I guess they're like known for like just selling bread on the side of the road. So like these just farmers or bakers will bake a bunch of bread, put them in like these old like 1950s refrigerators
Yeah, like the
that are like
snags.
yeah, they're like nice and new. They're not like rusty or anything, but they're just like out on the street and it's like bread, five
Yeah.
dollars.
There's like a sign that's really bad handwriting nailed to the tree that says bread, and it says like flip the sign upside down when the bread runs out and leave your money in the box. It's like
But
they
it's like
put little effort into this.
and it's a
We could
fight
recreate
to
it.
get to the bread too. Like people
Mm.
like when we went there,
We were the
there was
last ones to the parking lot. Like,
10 other people there.
yeah, this big RV came in behind us. We took the last, like, no, I think they could have parked just further down. They decided to pull right up to the
Yeah, cut
refrigerators,
us off,
cut
jump
us
in
off,
front of
yeah,
us.
jump out their RV, but actually somehow we beat
Yeah,
them to it.
and we got the best bread.
Yeah, well, I mean, I wasn't gonna eat it, but Kory got some good bread.
Yeah, which was fun. It's cool to see like different things like that around. I think we've seen a couple of signs that are like sourdough, so I think it's becoming more popular. I bet we'll see that in the U.S. because sourdough is so popular now.
Yeah, sourdough's so trendy.
Yeah, and then the last thing that we could have done on Bruny Island was take a look at these little penguins.
Penguins.
Penguins, yeah, but they only come out at night, and
Yeah, they fish all day long and then they come back at night.
and go to their little burrows in the
They go to
sand.
their eggs.
And so we were like just waiting around a little bit, and I was like, ah, we're probably not gonna see them, and maybe we could hang out a little bit. Let's check the last ferry. When's it leave?
I thought to check the last ferry, but I did want to stay for the penguins.
Yeah.
And I was like, let's. Like, Kory didn't want to stay at all. I
No.
really wanted to see them because we had chances to see them in other places in Tasmania and we didn't do it. So I was like, this is kind of our last shot to see the small penguins. I think they're called little penguins. They're the smallest penguins on the planet. Like, literally, they're called little penguins. And they weigh, what, a kilo?
Yeah, like 2.2 pounds.
Yeah, so those are the full grown ones. Um, so I really wanted to see them, and I checked the ferry schedule, and the last one was leaving in like an hour, and Kory like freaked out.
We were
He
like,
was
we
like,
gotta go. You can't miss a ferry. That's like the biggest thing in the world.
we were like 20 minutes from the ferry.
And we caught the second to last ferry.
Yeah, so we had time.
Yeah, we did it.
But I mean, even if we waited, we wouldn't have seen the penguins. I don't think because we had to wait till it got dark.
Yeah. And then I think the next night, well, the ferry ride was cool and it was fun. Cool to explore like that part and see like just Bruny Island. I liked
Yeah,
it.
I liked it.
Yeah, and then I think the next night we were just walking around Kingston Beach and there's like a fire ban everywhere in Tassie right now just because I think it's so dry. But we saw like there's this like camping spot or like non-designated parking lot that has facilities and stuff like that and
Yeah, the dog beach.
yep, right at the dog beach. And we saw like so many cars parked there. I'm like, oh, I wonder what's going on. And we see like in the pavilion where they have like cooking facilities and like shelter and bathrooms and stuff. There's probably like 50 people just hanging out in there, and they had a little bonfire going.
Not 50.
There was a lot. There was probably 30.
I don't know. I was going to say max 20.
Okay.
I don't know, but maybe I'm wrong.
Yeah, well, there's a bunch of people just hanging out, like having a party or whatever, and they had a bonfire going. And then all of a sudden, we hear these sirens coming down the road, and it's the fire brigade.
Well, it's just one. But yeah, they pulled up and they got their helmets on and their full fire outfits, and they dragged the hose all the way into this park to go to this one normal sized bonfire, and they hosed it down. So I had some I felt some type of way about that because the group of people who lit the bonfire were indigenous to Australia, and they have signs all over, at least Tasmania. I'm sure they're all over Australia, but they say,
Our land always will be, always was.
no, not our land, their land.
Oh,
Like it's
yeah.
like, as they say, as Faye would say, the colonizers writing it on behalf of the Aboriginals.
Yeah.
And they say, yeah, their land always has been, always will be. So they're always saying, like, it's their land, but, like, okay, if it's their land, they can't have a bonfire to stay warm and cook their food. Like,
Yeah.
but, I mean, whatever, I get it.
If anyone knows how to, like, have fire sustainability, it would be Aboriginals.
Yeah.
So,
So, I mean, it's a little
contradictory.
yeah, contradictory. So I kind of felt really bad for them. It was kind of embarrassing.
Yeah, like, why did they, like, they could have just dumped a couple buckets of water on it, but they had the whole hose going.
Or told them to put it out themselves instead of,
Yeah.
like, humiliating them.
And it costs, like, taxpayers money to send the fire brigade down there
Yeah.
and do all that stuff.
But, like, I do get it. Like, you don't want to allow just, like, one group of people to light fires and then something bad happens. So, like,
Yeah.
I get it, but it's just a little, I don't
Yeah.
know. But,
Yeah,
yeah.
another famous place was Port Arthur.
Yes. I think this
And
is the most touristic thing to do on Tasmania.
yeah,
So,
so
as Google says.
yeah, Port Arthur basically was one of the first, or an old prison that the English would send like anyone to. Basically, like they give a whole history on like the people who are there, and it's like people who committed crimes, like they were deemed like unfixables, and like there were people ranging from the age of 9 to just
Old.
old. Yeah, so the English would send them over
The
there.
convicts, the thefts.
Yeah,
They were
the
stealing
convicts.
bread.
Yeah, they
How
would.
dare they?
One of the convicts stole a book from his father, and then he
Yes.
got sent over there.
Yep.
So the idea was to build Australia as a colony, and these convicts would be doing like physical labor, like logging and all sorts of stuff.
Building.
Yeah. So, and if they like worked good enough, and they would like become free men eventually, and
Mm-hmm.
like this was a way, a stepping stone to building the colonies while like using basically like indentured servitude work.
Yeah, and the prison system in London back then in the 70s
Yeah, late.
was
Yeah.
really, really, really disgusting. So they had to do something. So I just finished a book on this, a short little book. The first book I've read in probably a year and a half, I want to say. So proud of myself.
Nice job.
But meanwhile, this one reads all the time.
Yeah, we're building a little library. We just bought like 8 books, so
Well, Kory
that's
bought eight
another
books.
thing that's going to be in the Prado.
A library.
Will be a small library. Yeah.
But anyways, so I learned a little bit about like why they sent convicts to create Australia. I wanted it to get a little bit more into detail, but you get what you get. And yeah, so the prison system was disgusting in London, and they kind of just wanted to start a new country.
Yeah, and I thought the place was really cool. Like, I guess, I mean, it's gone through some crazy stuff throughout the years because there's like an insane asylum to try and like basically fix people with mental issues, and their ideology behind this was silence. Like you couldn't speak, you couldn't like it was crazy the amount of like solitude. It was like a silent prison basically to try and like reform these people through like the church and like I don't know what else, but they basically stayed in their cells 23 hours a day and had 1 hour of
Silent exercise.
silent exercise where they would wear these
Or
masks.
church.
Yeah, it was just a creepy place really. And then one of our friends that we met later told us that Australia's biggest gun massacre happened at Port Arthur. The gunman killed like 30 tourists or something like that. So they also went, and we didn't. I mean, we got the vibe that it was haunted, but we didn't get really any negative.
Yeah, like we enjoyed it up until they told us that.
Yeah, because then it kind of is just like, oh my god, that's weird. Like that's
Yeah.
yeah,
So they went in knowing that and they felt weird about it. And like I'm sure if we knew that beforehand, we'd be really creeped out by the place. But
yeah.
like without knowing that, we thought it was cool.
Yeah, I liked it. I mean, my question was like, why didn't it become like a city? Because it was well established, like it was a great location and everything like that. And I guess it was a city for a while, mainly just driven off tourism, and it's still like a little town now. But like, why? It's confusing why places become popular and why places die out and become ghost towns.
Yeah, for
And that's kind
sure.
of like a theme everywhere. Like there's a lot of like old mining towns that are gone. And some mining towns like Derby have exploded because of like tourist attractions like mountain biking. And like Queenstown, New Zealand is a massive attraction. And I don't like it was also just a mining town. So
You should do research on all these towns and write a book on why some of them just die out and everyone moves elsewhere.
yeah, it's a weird thing of like the migration of people and where they go and
Yeah.
where they come from.
But what I liked about Port Arthur the most was that you could go into like every single building.
Yeah, that was nice. There was no like off limit stuff. It was like
Yeah.
all these old houses, just walk right in and explore it, and they had some all like mini museums and
Really cool churches.
yeah,
Yeah.
I liked it. And the friends we were talking about were the people we met in Cradle Mountain, John and Emily.
Yep. And we love them. They're like our new
Yeah, we just
besties.
spent like probably 15 hours with them over the last 3 days or two
I want to
days.
say more.
Yeah,
We spent Thursday night with them. We got drinks at Frogmore Creek Lounge on the harbor, and then we went over to Drunken Admiral,
Admiral. Yeah,
and we had dinner. And that was the night before John's big 25K Mount Wellington race. So the next morning, we met up, cheered him on as he went up the mountain. Went with Emily to a coffee shop, and this was all in South Hobart, where
yeah.
our first dog sitting job was. So it
Like
was like
so
very
close. Like we were walking the same stuff that we walked every single day.
for like 10 days.
Yeah.
So that was full circle for us. We were showing her like the park and like the prettier way to walk to the coffee shops and where the platypus might be.
Mm-hmm.
And this is like our last time being in this park, really, and we
We
finally
saw
saw the
one.
platypus.
It was insane. Like it looked like a magical little creature.
It really was. And he was very active, Emily said. Like,
Jumping around, swimming, showing off for us.
yeah, and she saw another one, and she said this one was a massive in comparison and so active. So,
Yeah, it was amazing to see. Like I think that really checks off all the animals in Tassie that like you could see. I think we have seen.
the only animal that we haven't seen, because I was worried we weren't going to see the platypus, but like, God's
We
there
got
for
him.
us. The
Yeah.
universe manifested it. The only animal is Neil the seal, and
Oh, Neil the seal.
he used to live in this neighborhood, Kingston Beach, and they relocated him for safety.
I love
Because
Neil the
he was getting
seal.
too close to people's houses and stuff, but or maybe they were worried that people were getting too close to him.
Yeah, quick backstory. If you don't know Neil the seal, he was basically just a seal that would like go in the road and just like hang out with people
On
and like
people's yards.
yeah, they so
Straight out the ocean.
he was like a
to your
local
front yard.
icon.
Yeah. And so I can't believe we're like living in the neighborhood he used to live in, but the government relocated him kind of far. So
Yeah, no one can find him now.
yeah, and Emily put in a Facebook group called Traveling Tasmania. She wrote, "Does anyone know where Neil the seal is?" And some people were hating on her post,
Oh
like,
yeah.
do not go find him.
Just because
Because they're just such animal advocates, but like,
he's a
no one's
seal.
hurting him. Everyone's just taking pictures of him on someone's yard from a
Yeah.
distance. But yeah, apparently he would do that every single day, and he's just an icon. And wish we could see him.
Yeah, but we got the platypus sighting in, and that was amazing. And
Magical.
yeah, and we got to watch John do his race too. So the race was basically just up Mount Wellington and then back down. Crazy. I think 15 miles, 25 Ks. Yeah.
More than 15, a little
Yeah.
bit.
So it was cool to see, and it was actually inspiring because I was like, they also did like a shorter race the next day, and I was like, this event is so nice. It's like a tight knit community. There was like it wasn't big at all, but it was still like, it felt like a big event. I don't really know how to describe it, but they made like a big deal about everything else. So
It's a
like,
huge deal.
yeah,
Like, trail running is hard, and let alone running up this massive mountain. If you guys remember us talking about Mount Wellington, it is so high in the sky.
yeah,
I cannot fathom that he ran up it.
it's crazy, and he did so well too. He came in 13th.
13th.
Yeah,
I can't even believe it. He killed it.
yeah, he crushed it, and that's what kind of inspired. So I was like, I'll do the short one. That's the next day. It's the foothills. I was a little back and forth about it, and then eventually, when we were out getting a beer after his race, uh, I was like, I'll do it, and that triggered a train reaction to have Emily do it, and then eventually Maxi sign up too. So all three of us now were committed to do it, and Maxi, you've never done anything like this. I've never
No.
done any trail running, but I've done like running races and stuff, and we've been running a little bit.
I had done 4 runs in the past 2 weeks, a little bit on trails, like a couple minutes on trails out of the 3 miles that I ran. And so brand new to me is trail running. And yeah, the furthest I've ever run was this past June. Kory had me run a few times to train for my first 5 mile race, which was a huge deal for me. The Brantford Father's Day race a week before our wedding. So the week before the race, I ran my first 5 mile, and then when the race came, I ran my second 5 mile. Have not ran that far since.
Mm.
A 9K converts to like
5.6.
5.7
Yeah, 5.7.
miles. So I was like, oh, of course I have not run a 9K. I don't plan on doing it uphill in the foothills of Mount Wellington. So yeah, when Kory actually decided that he wanted to do that while we were still at John's race, and I didn't think Emily was going to say she was going to do it, but she is training for an even bigger race.
Yeah.
So she ended up saying, okay, fine, if Kory's doing it, I'll do it. And then I felt left out for being like the fourth person of the group that didn't do any exercise. So I was like, oh my God, it's just a little bit further than I have ever ran. And it is on a trail uphill and whatnot. This is just so out of my comfort zone, but like, I'll probably regret not doing it. So I signed up.
Nice. And you crushed it too.
And shout out to my friend Grace Clancy, because she had just told me like a week and a half ago that the furthest she's ran is 10K. And I was inspired by her.
Let's go. Shout out Grace.
Shout out Grace.
Yeah, and you crushed it. Like, it was a hard race. It was, I think,
Well, like
1,200 feet of elevation, something like that, maybe a little more, and just like a hard course. And Maxi crushed it.
Thank you. You crushed it. Kory came in 20th. Did we already say that?
No.
Kory came in 20th. We had decided we were going to do this just a few hours before. Like, they didn't even have our registration ready when we signed in the morning.
Yeah.
This was today, and we are so tired right now recording.
Yeah, so it was a good result. I'm happy with 20th. It took in like 54 minutes, I think was my last time, and I'm happy with it. So
He crushed it. He was probably the first American. That was his
oh
goal.
yeah, that was my goal. I want to be the first American from Connecticut. But maybe just the first American would have been nice. But I think I did it. I don't know if there was any other Americans there.
They don't have the data for public
Yeah.
viewing of nationality, but
Yeah, it was a fun run over. Like, I'm really happy that we did it, and I'm happy we all did it together too.
oh, me too. Emily ran with me to start, and she is very experienced in the running sector, and she's training for something much bigger. So I was like, go ahead, run. But she was like, oh no, I'll run with you. And then I lost her after a little bit more than a kilometer because she is a good runner. I'm new to this. Running uphill in the beginning, I was like, what did I sign up for? I can't do this. I cannot. My calves are burning and I still have like 4 or 5 miles to go. But I did it. And as the announcer said right before the race started, the best kept secret of trail running is that everyone walks the uphills.
That is the
Or
best kept secret.
hikes.
Except the
Speed
winners
hikes.
don't, though. Those guys
Yeah.
literally. I think the winner finished in like 39 minutes or something like that.
Yeah, like I
He was
wasn't trying
cooking.
to be a winner.
Yeah.
I'm sorry, maybe
But
one
like
day.
everyone was walking. Like
Oh, it was like you had to walk because
everyone was
everyone
going.
ahead of
Yeah.
you was in your way walking. So, and everyone behind me was walking. Like it was just it felt like a team effort from everyone in that race.
Yeah, it was just fast hiking.
Yeah, I feel a little guilty that like walking is a part of the race, but I'm sure it's harder than like a 9K on flat roads.
Yeah.
So
It was fun.
I did it. I'm happy I did it. Very tired.
Yeah.
Not as tired as John though, because
Yeah, he must have been cooked.
like I'm almost embarrassed talking about the 9K in front of him.
Because he did the 25K was nuts. Like
it was like ours was like through like
hills,
a regular foothill mountain trail.
Yeah.
His was straight up a mountain and back down.
Yeah, his was intense. And and while we were watching John race, you had a specialty coffee that no one's ever heard of.
Oh yes, got a lot of attention on my Instagram story about this. Espresso Sunrise. It is an espresso shot on top of pineapple juice. Our waiter was saying that it's normally orange juice, but their cafe does pineapple juice to make it a fun spin on the concept. And it sounds shocking, but it was so good. Like if we go back there, I'm ordering it again. I'm going to make it next time we have an espresso machine and go to the grocery store because we're leaving here tomorrow, so we can't do it here. But next time the stars align, I'm making that at home.
Yeah. It was pretty good. I didn't have any I thought it was gonna be trash, but it was like somehow it worked. And
it was so good. It was really great. But yeah.
And the night before, or like after John's race, we had a fun like day planned. Kind of this last weekend in Hobart has kind of been just like jam packed with fun stuff, like seeing the country or seeing like the local attractions around. And we went to an Ocean Alley concert.
Woo!
And I'll tell you this, I've been to a couple Zach Bryan concerts, Bruce Springsteen. We went to Morgan Wallen. Like I feel like I've been to a fair amount of concerts now that I can say like some people don't sound as good in person.
Yeah, or Ocean just Alley, like the acoustics and audio.
Yeah, like the audio doesn't sound like that great. But Ocean Alley was better live than on recording, I thought. They were amazing.
The sound was like moving.
Yeah.
It was amazing. Like, because Kory and I have discussed this. I'm like getting really like into the theory of life. I was like, why do people go to concerts? And he's like, because to hear their favorite songs played where they sound the best live. And I was like, but they don't really sound the best live. And he was like, I don't know. But as we're listening to Ocean Alley, I was like, wow, this is the first time in my life that I feel like this concert, the music sounds even better in person. So this is like Kory's answer to the theory.
Yeah, and they were really good, put on a great show, but we didn't expect the amount of youths.
Well, because we didn't even know that it was a music festival because they sell the tickets as like Ocean Alley concert presented by Summersall, and we're like, okay, whatever that means. Later, we find out that it's a music festival. It starts at 1. We thought Ocean Alley concert was just like a day concert, but no, they came out at night. So we showed up at like 5.
Yeah, saw some opening acts and
2 opening acts and then Ocean Alley. But like it was a concert for them. Everyone there was there for them.
Ocean Alley, yeah.
All the merch being sold was for them. We both got this t-shirt.
Check out the YouTube channel to see the t-shirt.
Yes. And got a hat.
Yeah.
But
there's so many teens I don't know if we did this like growing up going to concerts and stuff, but the amount of just like kids sneaking into like the front section that you had to pay a little bit extra for. Oh yeah, we like accidentally bought good tickets.
Premium.
Yeah, so we got some nice advantages there. But like
Yeah.
people were like sneaking in, throwing
Into
elbows.
our
Oh, so
section.
annoying.
Because
Just
we were
like,
right at the stage.
and I said the average age was like 17.
Yeah, a lot of them had
So
like
young.
under 18 on their
Yeah.
wrists. But they were also pushy and drunk, and I don't like to be pushed. And I was standing on, it was in the Royal Tasmanian Botanical Garden, so like it wasn't a concert venue per se. So I was standing on this like sidewalk area, where if I took a step down, I would have like no view because I'm short.
Yeah,
But if
this concert setup was weird.
yeah, so when I stood on like the edge, the ledge, I had a pretty good view, and I kept getting shoved off my little curb because people are so rude. But then, luckily, by the time Ocean Alley came out, all the parents that came to the festival, or adults, they all happened to form like a wall around us because they just found that to be a good viewing spot too, by the luck of the universe. And we obviously weren't getting shoved by
Old parents,
respectful
yeah.
adults, so that was
Yeah.
awesome.
And there was one dude who was implementing a strategy to get up front and to like make friends in the crowd. He was,
He sure played Kory.
yeah, he got us good. He was like, he saw us take like a selfie or something and was like, hey, do you guys want your picture taken? And we're like, yeah, sure, why not? And like later on that night, we saw him doing the strategy to everyone,
He
or
and
like
those
three
people,
other people.
yeah,
Yeah.
they weren't even taking pictures of themselves. So he just went up to them and he's like, "Oh, you're a couple. You want me to take your picture?"
Yeah, and he like snuck in with them after he took the picture and like got ahead of them. So
Yeah, he
he
just
had a
used it.
strategy and he was sticking to it.
And then at the end of the concert, like literally right when they finished, this man,
Yeah.
we suspected he was pretty drunk. He just fell on his back and
Yeah.
like wiped out like
Like a
across
bowling ball,
people.
yeah.
Like people were all like, "Whoa!"
Yeah, there was some drunkards over there and
And as we walked out, we were just like leaving.
yeah, the lead singer was walking over
The
like
lead singer was like this far from me,
so
like
close.
shoulder to shoulder with me. So Kory was taking pictures of me and him.
Yeah, I tried to take a picture quick, but it was on like selfie, and I switched it over quick, and somehow it went to like the pano, and I was like, whatever, I don't have time, I gotta click it. So I took like the mini pano.
It looks good. I
Yeah,
mean, it was a dark pic, but it was awesome.
yeah, and like one of the dude's hand, like his hands look weird in it, so it's not AI generated.
Yeah, no,
It's
it's
real.
real. So that was very serendipitous.
Yeah, and another weird thing at the concert was I don't know if I was reading it wrong, but I think it was like real where it says 4 drink minimum at the bar. Like you had to go up to the bar and buy at least 4 drinks.
Everyone was double fisting, like walking around with two cans stacked up. And then, like, the guy next to him
Everybody.
would have two hands. Yeah, so we did it.
Yeah, so that's what we did too, just to fit in.
Assimilating to the culture.
Yeah, but I had my first ginger beer, which was solid. Like a sweet ginger beer. I don't know. It was okay.
Cider was okay.
Cider was okay, and I think
It was a great concert.
yeah, it was a fantastic
I
concert.
love Ocean Alley, and I've loved them for years and years and years. And I wanted to go to a concert right after getting back from Australia in 2019. Like the next week, there was a concert in Boston, and I begged Kory to go. He wasn't that into it because he didn't really know them. And so we didn't go. Whatever. It was kind of like a rushed thing.
Yeah.
So I was so happy to actually get to see them.
Yeah, and they crushed it.
Yeah.
Oh, and then right in the morning, well, so the after the concert, we got home and the dogs were just acting up in the middle of the night, like 4 in the morning. The
This
little one
morning.
Bob, yeah, this morning, he's a weirdo. Like they have a dog door, and like sometimes he doesn't like to use the dog door. He gets like afraid of it, so you got to let him in the side door. So, but at 4 in the morning, he was just barking at the dog door because he was scared to come in. And so I go and let him in the front door, not really thinking much of it. And then he like keeps like barking around us, and we left like a fan on, so it was making this loud clicking. So it was overall just not a good like night.
Pre-race sleep. No.
And then during the morning when we're running around getting ready to like take the dogs for a walk, I can't find the other dog. I just don't know where it is. I look upstairs, look around. She's not barking at all, and I'm like freaking out because I was like, maybe that's why the other dog was barking because she got stolen by a wallaby or
Oh, Wallaby.
something happened. And I'm like, oh my god, on our last one of our last days of the sit, and this dog is gone.
I thought we didn't have to go to the race.
I was. I yeah, I was freaking out, and then I look around the corner where she sits and barks at like cars going by. She's like tucked in the garden, like somewhere. Like, what are you doing there? And she was like
Dirty.
dirty and like shivering. So, no idea what happened to that dog in the midst of the night, but something definitely was going on where she hid. So, wrapping up. Basically, we've had a great time in Tassie, and I think this is our last podcast from here.
Yeah, it is. And the next time you see our besties, honestly, I just want to say I love our new friends so much, and it's been lovely having a whole
Yeah, it's nice to have friends.
multiple days of like good friendship. We get along great with this couple.
Yeah, very similar to us, I'd say.
Yeah. The next time
Oh yeah, we're
we'll
on the
see
same
them.
ferry.
Yeah, we're on. That's like why we made friends with them because.
We're leaving the same day.
Yeah, at Cradle Mountain, we found out we were on the same ferry. Well, I'm actually not taking the ferry, but
Yeah, you're flying. Luckily, you.
we booked this before we met them, so now I have FOMO that I'm not coming. But and I considered taking the ferry still on Tuesday, even though there's 10-foot waves predicted, and just because I love our new friends so much. But
Yeah,
then
for the camaraderie.
you know what? Then I'd lose money on my flight. I'm
Yeah.
flying. But Kory gets to hang out with them for the 12-hour, 11-hour ferry, which
It's
is
gonna be
nice.
a long one.
And then we're probably going to see them in Torquay, which is a famous surf town outside of Melbourne. So we'll get to see them again. We love having friends.
Mm-hmm.
They're amazing. But yeah, we're leaving in 2 days.
Yeah, and so because we're leaving, we accumulated a list of the best beaches in Tasmania, and we'll start from the bottom. Want me to start with a couple, and then we could go through our top three together, or top five together?
Yeah.
So my bottom ones were like mainly Hobart based. They were the first two beaches we went to: Sandy Bay Beach and Long Beach, or Tongaree,
Taruna.
Taruna. One of them was nice, just swim at them. It was just like they're not that bad of beaches. I think Sandy Bay Beach was like the concrete, like surrounding it, and it was more like a little park, and nothing really much was going on. And then,
Well, we did swim at a really pretty one.
yeah, I think that was Taruna.
It had like pretty rocks in the water and such clear water.
Yeah, so it was a nice beach. Just the other beaches were so much better.
Well, the reason that they're not that great in Hobart, I guess most of the beaches are on the River Derwent, so it's like connected to the ocean and it looks like ocean and it has waves and you couldn't
Yeah,
really
it's
tell the difference.
brackish. Yeah.
But yeah, it's not really like the full blown ocean.
Yeah, the next on my list is Hazards Bay or Hazards Beach, which was in Freycinet
On your birthday hike.
on my birthday hike. And then the next best one was Wineglass Bay. Then the beach we're at, Kingston Beach, Kingston Dog Beach in particular. Then Edge of the Bay Beach, where we stayed and had a view of the hazards at Freycinet. And yeah, go through your bottom.
I didn't really love the one that we just read our books on. Was I don't know, were you saying that was Long Beach? I don't know the names. Above that, I would say the beach outside our Airbnb in Falmouth, which best Airbnb ever. But I didn't think that the beach was beautiful. But I just, in comparison to the other beaches, I don't want to really rank it that high.
Yeah, I had it higher up on my list just because I loved the view from the Airbnb.
Yeah, from the Airbnb, it was amazing. True. But I just meant like being on the beach. It was just like not as high as the other ones we saw, but no, it was gorgeous. Above that, I have Hazards Beach, which was this massive beach on Kory's birthday hike that absolutely no one was on besides us as well. That's happened to us multiple times here in
Tassie.
not so populated Tasmania.
Yeah.
But yeah, above that, probably the one we swam at.
Mm-hmm.
Taruna or Sandy Bay, I don't even know. And then above that, Kingston Beach, where we're at now.
Yeah, so is that your top five?
That was my bottom five.
Bottom five. Yeah. So at number five, I've got the
I think I have
Beach.
top 6 left.
I'll go through your sixth one.
I guess my 6th one would be the Edge of the Bay beach, which is right outside of our
Yeah, so
hotel in
we had
Freycinet.
similar. That was my sixth one as
Yeah, it had
well.
an amazing view of the hazards. So
Yeah.
we're getting into like the really good beaches here.
Yeah, and I kind of base this off of like, did I swim there?
Yeah, I didn't
What
swim
was
there,
it
but Kory
like?
did.
Yeah, I swam, and just like the overall just aesthetics of the beach, water, and everything. So my number five was the beach at our Airbnb in Falmouth. This was right outside the Bay of Fires, so the water was crystal clear. I mainly chose this because the view from the Airbnb was so nice.
Yeah, if you put it as that package of like
Yeah,
the Airbnb too, it was pristine.
we'll go one for one. So you go with your five now.
Wineglass Bay.
Mm,
So incredible view from the top,
it
but
was.
we got there a little early in the morning, so it was still kind of chilly because that's how Tasmania does it.
Yeah, we didn't get to swim.
So we did not swim yet, and we just kind of had a snack, and we're off on the rest of our 4-hour hike. So it was absolutely jaw dropping.
Picturesque. Yeah, it's like what they put on all the like promotions on Qantas and the airlines that advertise for Australia.
Yeah, and like we said, we met a tour group and a cool tour guide going down to the beach. But like when we were there, there was like 30 people on the beach because that tour was there. So I think that took away from it a little bit, but still like the most beautiful beach, orangey rocks and all
Mm.
that.
So my number four was Ocean Beach, the one in western Tasmania where we got to drive on it and just experience like all of it. And we hung out there like for a couple hours, maybe an hour or two, just driving around, having fun. Just great expanse, all the western, uh, like at most western part of Australia where it's just the ocean out there. So
Yeah,
that was really nice to see. And
that was also my number 4, so I
nice.
second that.
We also have the same number three.
Oh,
You go for
awesome.
it.
Honeymoon Beach, loved it. We spent Corey's birthday there in the national park.
Water was amazing.
It was like so rugged from like the beach to the rock and mountain in the distance and trees. And then once you walked out on this rock and you looked at the water and swam in, it was the Mediterranean. Like the
Mm.
way the water was hitting the way the light was hitting the water. It was so blue, so
It
clear,
was a
so
perfect little
refreshing.
bay where like the water came in one channel and got a little wider. So like that one channel was so deep you could like dive down and
Yeah.
see a bunch of fish swimming around.
So it was interesting because it had like the rugged look and then mixed with the Mediterranean feel. So we jumped in and swam down, and it was awesome.
Yeah, and my number two was Cape Queen Elizabeth Beach. This was the one we described earlier at Bruny Island. So just magical place. And your number two?
My number 2, wait, shout out to Honeymoon Beach again. We were supposed to meet up with our Italian friends, but we told them we'd be at the beach for another 2 hours because they were asking, and they didn't. They said be there in 30 minutes, and they didn't make it in time. So I
Yeah,
guess
that's Italian time.
Southern Italians, classic, not making it. Um, but anyways, he invited us to Sicily. So my second beach, surprisingly, is the Bay of Fires. It was my absolute favorite beach until Bruny Island. Sorry.
Yeah, that's your number one.
Sorry to ruin it. Number 1 is Cape Queen Elizabeth Beach, but Bay of Fires, jaw dropping. Like I'm gonna do an Instagram post about it.
Yeah,
Took
we'll try and
amazing
put some
pictures.
pictures up of these beaches so you're just.
Yeah. Follow us at the Good Day Pod for pics. But anyways, Bay of Fires is so pretty that I started painting it.
Yeah.
And this was before I saw my
Bay of
favorite
Fire is
beach.
my number one, and just the rocks were like orangey and gray, and just the sand was white, water crystal clear. That's kind of the thing in Tassie. Water is just gorgeous here.
It's my favorite part of Tasmania
Yeah.
is the clear water. But like when the light hits it, it's like aqua blue, so it's beautiful. But the Cape Queen Elizabeth Beach was just so special with the
It was
arch
amazing, yeah.
of rock and like those other secret little beaches and the waves, and we were swimming,
Just
and it
such
was
a
just
nice
us
time,
on this
yeah.
massive beach. I loved it.
Yeah.
So,
Those are our beach rankings. So hopefully you'll see those on Instagram. Maybe we'll put Kory's beach rankings and Maxi's beach rankings and 10 pictures of them each. We'll see. But that's it. And the animals of this week are pretty simple: Bob, Jazmin,
scorpion,
a
snake,
snake.
a couple wallabies.
Yeah, some colorful birds. The platypus was definitely the big animal of the week that we got to
Oh,
see.
the
Yeah.
platypus.
Yeah.
And not Neil the seal, but Kory's, all the dogs he has
Was
been
petting.
patting.
Yeah, I pet 7 dogs today. I
Well,
was keeping track.
Kory likes to say he pat the
I
dogs
pat
because
them, yeah.
Australians kind of say it that way, I think.
Yeah.
So, yeah.
Well, thank you guys for listening. This is a long episode. We hope you guys enjoyed, and we'll see you next week. Have a good day.
Have a good day. Love you.